Let's move to our QA session. We got several questions in the chat. Let me start from the very first of the questions. So I'm Sam. Hi, Sam. I hope you're still here. So from Switzerland, from Swiss startup. Is anyone from the speakers here working with RTK or has any experience in this field? Sam is working with RTK and GNSS networks. So, nope. Nope. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Kennedy. Hi, Kennedy. So his question is to Gaida, but I assume other two speakers can also answer it because all of them are from Earth observation. So Gaida, please, what satellite resolution has worked best for monitoring tree health?
Yeah, actually, we rely now on drone images to centimeter level, and then we train it to the satellite imagery. But if we could have satellite imagery within multispectral or hyperspectral sensors, at least 8 to 12 bands, within less than zero point 0.5 meter resolution, it will be good for us to train the model in AI. It actually depends on the use case that we are using it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But what about so you're using drones, right? For
Yeah, initially using drones for training the model, and then we can use it for the satellites.
Okay. Okay. Will
Yeah.
Brijesh, do you have any experience in that?
Definitely, we do. So, in our experience, a resolution of 80 centimeter to 1.5 meter works well when it is about monitoring tree health at the individual canopy level,
Mhm.
especially when it is also combined with multispectral or shortwave infrared data. And this also allows us to assess the canopy size and color changes, or the stress indicators as well to some extent. But for more detailed applications, I would say, like for tree counting, for instance, I would say that integrating either drone imagery or very high resolution satellite data, like if you go down to 30 to 50 centimeter, that's typically more used more, like,
Mhm.
to for some targeted zones.
Yeah, at those sort of resolutions, you end up with about 80 to 85% accuracy, because the thing is when you've
Yeah,
got a canopy of trees, you've got a massive green, and then you end up in heights, which is why drone becomes so much more reliable. But that having been said, the reliability may fall away, but the cost falls away much faster when you're using satellite, which is why it's important.
right.
Okay. So Sam is back here. So he's referring to real-time kinematic, allows to connect GPS from meter down to centimeter level for precision agriculture. So if anybody can help us. So anyway, so the question is in QA session, if you can reply, please, to. So, okay, Kennedy, thank you so much for the question. Again, as precise as possible, right? So very easy reply to your question here. So our next question is, what are the biggest challenges that you foresee when it comes to designing use cases from the end user point of reference? Um,
I'm not sure I completely understand that. I don't think there's any challenge in designing the used cases. It's just a question of understanding what you want. I think that when we were talking about AI earlier, and I know Brijesh will recognize this, I think the outcome has to be very, very specific, because there's a lot of data. I mean, Brijesh produces a lot of data and puts it into the platforms that he's doing. What we do at KSA is we ingest the data for very specific outcomes and then provide us a dashboard that's, I mean, it may be like Brijesh's or not, but the whole thing about it is that, ultimately, the more complicated the use case, the less likely it is to be achieved. There are certain requirements that I've seen where it just when you're talking about looking at the road signs and from above, that's just not going to work from space. You have to have a secondary technology in. And I think that if you look at Khanim and what he's doing with Space Up, I would expect a number of the applications that come through will start with space and then hope to bring other technologies alongside it to make sure that the use cases are delivered in the way that's expected, but you can't do everything from a satellite.
Okay.
If I may compliment what Will
Yeah,
said, just to compliment on top of that. So I think often there is a disconnect between what a satellite data can deliver, so whether it is usable or not. So for instance, like we do integrate a lot of data on our platforms. There's a possibility of integrating a lot of data. But for instance, a vegetation index may not be useful, in deciding, like for a farmer to decide whether, he needs to plan for irrigation today or tomorrow. So for that, it needs more relevant and perhaps maybe more locally relevant data. So I think it's not a challenge, but there needs to be a more understanding into, translating usable information, usable data into timely and locally relevant data. So I would like to just add this point as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Gaida, all good? There is another question, two questions from Kennedy. Kennedy, thank you so much for your for being so active. So to Will, how do you deliver the offer to private companies that affect water bodies stability in order to advance them on how to optimize water use through satellite data?
Well, from an AI point of view, I mean, the thing about it is this comes back to the brief that you're going to take. You see, the thing is that what is one man's answer isn't another man's answer. So the whole thing about it is that when you go into a new client, you have to be very, very careful about your questioning of trying to make sure that the outcome that they're asking for is exactly what they need. And then with every platform that I'm aware of, there isn't a one size fits all. There's always a certain element of customization. I mean, Rajesh, you tell me, when you go into some farms and you've got a farm on a hill, it's just not going to be the same, is it, as then when you've got something on the flat, because of the water dissipation, and there are certain issues around that. And that then you start to have to think outside the box as to how, if you're going to sort of ingest this data and then put out a viable solution, what that's going to look like. You can potentially model how much water you're going to save, but the thing is, the early efficiencies in water usage are much simpler than you're going to be able to see from space, because the thing is, you'll start with all the leakage and all the rest of it. But the thing is, it's about sort of making sure that your brief's right and customizing the small areas to make sure that what you're recommending fits the customer.
Thank you so much. Okay, so may I ask you next question? I want to engage our government representatives today. We have two wonderful guys here on the webinar. So, how can governments and the private sector collaborate to further develop the integration of space technologies in agriculture? So, basically, this question was asked last time as well. So, I'm curious about what would be the answer today. One of them is about Space Up, basically, right? So this is one of the way how governments can engage private sector. But what are the other ways to engage and to do some stuff, right? From your perspective. So let me check who's... Ganim, are you with us? Dr. Fanmilola?
Yes.
Please join conversation. How you guys can attract private sector?
Yeah, okay. So, coming to this question, to actually look at it
Hello?
Did we
Well,
get
I think,
stuck?
Yeah, Dr. Fahmy, you're stuck a little bit. Ganim, do you have any reply to this one?
yeah, well, I think it's exactly what we're doing right now in the Space Up competition. We're having different tracks. Each track can help to integrate the space tech in agriculture. We have three of them related to agriculture. We're working with the other government entities, for example, Ministry of Environment, Water and Agriculture, to solve challenges related to the agriculture and to help entrepreneurs and space tech innovators grow and develop their solutions. I think this is exactly what we're doing. At the same time, we're doing something else when it comes to entrepreneurship development. We're supporting space tech companies working in agriculture, either by designing entrepreneurial programs such as incubators or accelerators. Here in the kingdom, at Ministry of Environment and Water and Agriculture, they have different kind of accelerators and incubators. They incubate, accelerate companies working in the agriculture. I can't memorize their names, but for us as CST and the Saudi Space Agency, we're helping to develop the space sector in general. We're not focused on we're not focused on specific subject, but I'm talking about the experience of the kingdom. Each entity can focus on developing and supporting tech in their field.
I see. Yeah, thank you so much. By the way, so we've got 3 startups in a row basically now, right? From various regions. My question to startups, how you guys are communicating with governments, and you've got a very unique chance to give some advices to governments on how to establish this connection between government and private from your perspective, right? So I'm quite curious to hear about your experience. Yes, Gaida, please.
Oh, yeah, actually, I can answer this question. It's a struggling actually with the governments, but I can mention our experience with, for example, as our topic today in agriculture. We started with Ministry of Agriculture here in Oman. We developing and innovate a technology spraying the palm trees that have been affected by the red weevil palm trees diseases, spraying these diseases. Then they funding us actually to build a R&D center related to this. So they wanted to do R&D in the diseases that affecting to the palm trees, and not only the palm trees. And now the R&D is related to the drones, but now we wanted to expand it to the space technologies also. So this step by step, governments will trust you. So they might expand not only the technology that you are providing to them, also to the R&D part. Yeah.
Okay. Any Rajesh, Will?
Well, listen, Khanim knows very well. He sees me everywhere he goes out the door whenever he's got stuff on. The one thing I would say is in the kingdom, they're very lucky to have CST, because CST are genuinely making as much of an effort as they possibly can, accepting the fact that they're in governance. It's not really their job to get the infrastructure going, but Frank, Khanim, Al-Nuaimi, they're all the guys, Al-Tabi, all of you, you're all out, you're fanned across Riyadh all the time. It isn't always the fastest place to get a decision, but the thing is you can feel that there's a process that's going through to try and make sure that it's there. And I mean, I'm a product at this moment in time of the SEER initiative, as are you, Alex. I worked with your guy with regard to going through. It was one of the many incubators that went on that was brought together by CST. I'm not aware. I mean, bear in mind, look, I'm very clearly an Englishman, okay, and I'm sitting in the UK right now, just because it's been a bit quiet recently. But the thing is that there's nothing in the UK that's going on at the sort of level that I've seen. There are grants and all the rest of it, but the thing is, the daily activity that CST is pumping out is impressive. Is that good enough for you, Garner? It's true though, isn't it? Yeah. And the thing is, the Space Up exhibition. I mean, I've got 3 applications into Space Up, 2 agriculture and 1 thing. So that's the sort of thing. That's the sort of engagement with government that you need. Don't forget me now, Garni. I know you got 690 there.
I think. First of all, thank you for the compliment, and thank you for the words you said about the government in the kingdom and about us specifically. I cannot say that I have seen your applications, and thank you for submitting your application to the Space Up. And remember, we're not limited to Space Up competition. We will eventually support each and every startup in the kingdom working in space. We're working on something even bigger than Space Up. So do not worry. Even, God forbid, if you don't get a chance in Space Up, you'll get other chances similar to the one you've already gotten.
Yeah.
In the incubator and in other entrepreneurial programs.
May I join a conversation? So what I hear now, it's very interesting because we've got Will and CST, right? That basically we've got CST that is promoting space application for various industries, right? And CST as an entity that is partnering with other ministries, right, to promote this, for example, Ministry of Agriculture. And we see Guy left but anyway, so we see a Guy example where you guys are going directly to the Ministry of Agriculture and pushing them to adopt those technologies, right? So it's what I'm trying to refer here is basically we've got several approaches how we can approach the government. I'm speaking about from startup point of view, right? Approach the government and promote the idea of adopting those technologies, either through the space ministry, either through the agriculture ministry, right? So yeah, Brijesh, do you want to add something?
No, I also wanted to say that we have also submitted 3 applications. So I hope that we get a call for at least one of them. But anyhow, this also happens to be a first experience of participating in such a project, and we are also glad. We are also grateful to the organizers, especially CST and SSA team, who have been cooperative, and also their appointed organizer. There is one more organization who are supporting us throughout the application process. So we really appreciate that support. And yeah, let's see if anything, if we get a chance, then we'll be happy to deliver more towards that submitted applications. But our experience, I would say that for LC60, the main experience with the governments comes from the Southeast Asia and Western Australian governments. So where I think it may also there may also be a difference in the dynamics, like the way they approach a problem. So there, the approach is more like we are focusing more on solving their or helping them with their national priorities. So whatever they may be, like climate resilience or food security or whatever be the case. And then we are trying to work along, like how to structure that solution part. So we are basically working together with them and formulating the whole process. So that's usually the strategy there. But yeah, would be interested to learn more from the Middle East region, as we also plan to set up a subsidiary there in the Middle East. So I think in the future we will have more collaborations and more opportunities in the GCC region.
Ganim, you wanted to say something? No? Okay, good. We don't hear you.
What I can say is I wish every one of you good luck in the competition, and based on what I heard and based on what I've observed, uh, most of the companies most of the applicants are good, and you guys will receive pre-qualification email within this week, maximum by the beginning of next week, and before the end of April we'll be done with the qualification phase, and we'll move to the localization phase for the foreigner companies or startups. You guys will hear from us very soon.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me ask you one last question, because I'm quite curious as well. So the question is from Abdul Rahman Bello. Thank you for this question. So Abdul Rahman is asking, yes, so we're hearing a lot about crop production. How about animals? How we can help farmers who are growing animals and so on, and how those technologies can help with animal production, right? Do you guys anyone specialize in helping animals?
I don't think that's really something you can do from space.
Okay.
There's no point in trying to dress it up. The problem is, unless you're going to get revisits on a level never before seen, that the whole thing about it is, and I don't know if Brajesh is doing this. What I was trying to advocate earlier is that if you've got animal movements and all the rest of it, you need IoT devices, you need fixed cameras, maybe the odd drone. It's that type of thing. With animals, the best you can possibly do is put together an algorithm that maybe makes the grass grow better for them, or you move the animals around. But the thing is, that's not animal centric. That's the animals are the outcome of what you're doing. There's no, you've got to remember, space is really good, but it's not going to fix everything.
Okay. Any more questions? Any more ideas you want to share before we finish the webinar?
No, thank you very much, Alex.
Okay. Thank you so much. If you don't mind, let me stop sharing the screen, and I'll make a screenshot of all of you saying thank you so much. I'll post this on LinkedIn in a few minutes. One more time, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your presentations.
Thank you.
And yeah,
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex.
Bye-bye.
Thank you
See
for
you
your
next
time.
week, Alex.
Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
Bye.